So yesterday we went out into the forest or the woods and did our scavenger hunt for leaves. So we're going to continue on with some experiments with leaves, but to do our first experiment we're going to do today, we've got to learn about the parts of a leaf so that we'll know why we're actually doing this experiment. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about parts of a leaf. Okay, I've got little cards here. I'm going to move it to where we just have one. Now this little section right here, it's like little points, that's called a blade, the wide flat part of the leaf, and it contains the food making cells. The leaves are what makes the food on a tree. So like this is a blade right here, this is another blade right here on a real leaf, and this is a blade. This is the back side of the leaf, this is the front side. This blade got a little bit of the tip taken off. So each of those little things sticking up is a blade. Then right here, let me do this one last. I want to save that one for last. Then these little end points of each blade is called a tip, the outer edge of the leaf. So like a while ago I said, here's a tip, and I said this tip's been broken off, and then here's a tip right here. Okay. So we have blade, and each blade has a tip on the end. And then right down the middle is called the midrib. That's the main vein in the leaf, running down the center of the blade from stem, this long thing right here is the stem, to the tip. It's kind of like, we have a backbone in our back. The midrib is kind of like the backbone or the big bone, if you could say, of the leaf. So let's take a look at this leaf. Let's look at the back side of it. Veins are little channels or tubes that go through. We have veins in our body that takes blood all over in our body. So all these are little veins. And if you get real close, I don't know if I can get you much closer. I don't know if you could see it better on the front. Yeah. You see little lines, smaller lines running all through it. Those are smaller veins, and that takes like water comes through the stem from the tree where it's connected to the branch. It goes through this midrib. See how it's bigger? And then it's got these smaller veins that go through here, and then they even get smaller right there. And then if you look real close, it almost looks like it's got scales, but all those are veins taking water and food to all through the leaf. Okay, so what we're going to focus on is the vein. It supports the leaf and transport or moves minerals, water, and food. So we're going to see how that works in our first experiment. So what I've got in here, let's see if I can move this. Area here, let me get the light shining over here. We're going to observe how the veins of the leaf move the water to other parts of the leaf. So what I've got is I've got this 1 cup, and I just got them in there to keep them of water, and I've got the leaves in there just to keep them healthy. And then I've got different cups of water. All this is just water. We're going to do something with that water. Now these leaves right now are pulling water. The reason we put them in water is because they're pulling water up to keep this from drying out and going bad. But how can we prove that? We could prove it by saying, hey, they're still healthy and they're like they would be on a tree. But we would like to see how that water's going up this stem. Whoops, I'm sorry. How the water's going up this stem, through this midrib, into all these veins and going to the leaf. And so our experiment is the water's going up, well, the water's clear, so it's not going to, you're not going to see it. But what if this water were different colors? Then you might see it. So let's try this out. We're going to take food coloring. We're going to drop it in the water, and they said to make it pretty concentrated. So that means we put a lot of color in it, so it's a real deep color. I'll put a lot of drops of red in there. See how deep red that is? Almost looks black to you, but that's red. And I'm going to stick one of them in there, and we're going to see if we can start seeing red come up through that stem. That stem starts turning red. These veins start turning red, and see if we see some red in the leaves. Okay, now we want to make sure that it's going to work, so we're going to test different colors. So I've got blue right here. So I'm going to do a lot of drops of blue, make that really deep, concentrated blue in there. That's pretty blue, pretty dark blue. So then I'm going to get another one of these. I'm going to use the stem to kind of stir it up. We're going to see if we start seeing that stem turn blue. All right, let's see. We've got red, we've got blue. We don't want to use green because it is green. That color wouldn't work. Let's see. I'm afraid if I do yellow, yellow's such a light color it wouldn't work. But what if I do yellow with red together? Does anybody know what color? Some of the stuff that you might have learned in art class. Does anybody know what color you get when you have yellow and red together? It's kind of orange, isn't it? So I'm going to put just a little bit of red in there, mainly yellow. It's hard to tell in there, but that's orange. So let's see if we can make this stem start to turn orange on that leaf. And then we've got this one that's just plain water. So whenever you do any kind of experiment, you need to have what's called a control. A control is where you don't really do anything. It's the ordinary one. So we need to have this one so you can see what happens when it's just regular water. What happens to that leaf? So you have this one that's going to be the regular color, and we could put it side by side to see if we see changes between those two. This one beside that one to see if there's changes. So we need a control so we can really tell if changes are taking place. They seem to want to flop over and go to each other's cup, don't they? Let me put them on the front side. So our directions tell us to wait a few hours and observe the red. It said just do red, but I wanted to try different ones. So we need to wait a few hours and see what happens. So I'm going to keep this. I think I'll do it overnight, and then I'll show you a little bit later on in another little video. So I'm going to add another little video on our page. So I'm going to share my screen and see what we need to look at, okay? So we should be on this one right here. You would have clicked this video to watch what I'm doing right now. And I think when you get this as your assignment, I'm going to put another video right here for you to click on to see the after effects of the video of what happens after we look at these after a few hours. So even though you don't have it right now, when you go on it, you'll have another video to watch to see the before. This is the one you watch right now to see the beginning of it, and then here is the after video. And here's another picture of the parts of a leaf, and you can really see the midrib really good on this one. There's another thing they call right here, it's called the petiole, but that is, all that is where the stem connects to the actual leaf. You have the blade, you have the tip, and you have the vein. The main things I wanted you to learn was the blade, the tip, the midrib, and the vein. And you can see all those other veins really good in this one. Now what you're to do after you have watched both of these videos, you can try this experiment at home as well, but part of today's is to go to this and click, and it takes you to the next page, and your job is to move these boxes. I can't do it because I don't have it open as me to edit. But you're going to move all these and put them in the correct location of what they're pointing to. And if you can't remember, just hit your back button and you can see that it's basically the same thing as this. It's just a drawing of it. Okay. And you, from on Monday about the scavenger hunt, keep on that leaf scavenger hunts. If you need more leaves, you need to try to find a leaf from each of the trees that we talked about and try to find at least one of each color. The hardest one probably will be the purple, but there are some out there because I did find some. So we'll need that for tomorrow's activity. So try to find you some leaves, all different sizes and types. And I hope you have fun with this experiment because this is a fun and easy one to do with some of the leaves that you've got. Make sure the leaves you have long stems where they can stick down in the water, and they need to be green or still growing on a tree. If it's fell off the tree, it won't do this. It needs to be still a green live leaf for this to happen. So I can't wait to hear what some of you find out on this experiment as you do it at home. I'm excited.